traders. This is Adam, or Swiss Made Trades on Twitter. Just gonna go over some of the action we saw over the past week, starting from Wednesday. Right now, they're looking at the daily chart for the S&P 500. Just kind of gonna go over some patterns that we've seen the past few months, and kind of give some context to some of the action we've had over the past week. So obviously what we see here is the August correction. Sorry about that. August correction turned to a ugly double bottom, but double bottom nonetheless. Broke out, found resistance at 2100, double bottom turned into a double top. We failed to get a breakthrough to the downside on this double top. This double top then turned into a double bottom attempt. Failed breakout. Didn't even come within, or came within 25 points of 2100, but didn't even get relatively close. And this double bottom turns into a double top. And we've had, obviously, a push through what should have been support right here. And we've even broken the daily cloud. So clearly bearish, and this is a very intermediate to long-term trend and support that we've clearly broken. So let's kind of go into the 2500 tick chart and go into what we've seen over the past week. I already talked about Monday and Tuesday in the last video. I think we left off, price was right here bouncing with technical bounce, and it just failed this cloud. I think in that last video I said I wanted to get short up here, if anything, and it didn't even get back up to the cloud, so that didn't really come to fruition. But I also said that people were starting to talk about a short squeeze in China, even though the sell-off was just really getting started. I said not to get your hopes too high for a short squeeze just yet, and clearly that didn't happen. So kind of glad that worked out. It's kind of like when Twitter gapped down. Let's look at Twitter. When it did this whole thing, I remember people on Twitter were posting, "Oh man, this is Twitter's so cheap right now. I'm gonna get long. It'll bounce back fast. There's no way this lasts. Such a big company." And that was $20 ago. Wow. I mean, I haven't looked at this chart in a while. I actually was trying to buy down here and expecting it to maybe retest up here, but it just failed at the Kijun-sen, and it's just been crushed, obviously. Only significant bounce was maybe right here, and then it triple topped. I'm not here to talk about Twitter, though. I'm just saying that don't get too excited whenever we get a dramatic move downwards, even in macro markets. Just kind of keep a level head and just let it play out and follow the cloud if you trade the cloud, or follow whatever system you follow. But don't jump the gun on stuff like short squeezes. I know China pumps money, hundreds of billions into their economy, but just you have to read the price action first before you just start making crystal ball predictions. So left off talking about Tuesday right here. Wednesday we came back up. Let me just zoom in here. It's Tuesday night, and this is Wednesday. Yeah, right here, Tuesday night. That's where we left off. So didn't reach the cloud, continued selling off, and then we had this controlled buying, and you can see for a while it kind of followed a trend line with no dramatic swings up or down, really. This was kind of the most dramatic thing we saw until it met the cloud and then just got shut down 1, 2, 3 times by the cloud. Like I said in the previous video, your system should give you more than one chance to get into a trade. I mean, you had a double top here, this candle and this candle, plus the cloud, so that would have been an awesome short. You could have been like, oh man, I missed that trade. Or you could have added more right here, come back into the cloud, give yourself a few points risk, a point above the cloud maybe. That second chance, or third chance really, and then another chance right here. So you could have you definitely could have gotten SPY puts, gotten short ES or short SPY if that's what you do. If you have a humongous bankroll, more power to you. But options or futures are probably the best way to play the S&P. So this controlled buying, I would just call it short covering, profit taking. Big money is taking profit from this big move down, and then we had a big swing down here. Sorry, I'm all over the place with the mouse today. Let's see where we are. Wednesday. A big swing down here, and then they just pushed it up just to knock it back down in the cloud again after hours. Nothing too special here, guys. I mean, the cloud just called this perfectly. You had 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 chances to get short if you were trading futures. If you were trading options, you just had 4 chances. Plenty of chances, in my opinion. Into Wednesday night, though, we just saw this thing fall on its face, and we had a double bottom, chance here. Oh, one thing I wanted to point out about Wednesday. If you were in chat, I said you will get some points if you bring up this pattern, and probably should have guessed it would have been a spike in channel. Like I said before, it's not always going to be pretty, but we do have a spike down, we have resistance, and then we have what resembles a channel, at least in my opinion. And then we broke out, retested the channel, climbed up. What we're looking for once we break out of a spike in channel to the opposite direction is to test the first point of resistance. Did we get there? No. Doesn't always work out that way. Like I said, nothing works perfectly. We just came up short, but once you met the cloud, you should have expected resistance anyways. So, and another interesting point to make, Wednesday, if you look at Tuesday's session low, right there, let's get rid of this spike in channel level. If you look at Tuesday's low and the session high of Wednesday, they just line up perfectly. So we failed at the previous day's market low, session low, excuse me. Clearly bearish. Everything about this is bearish, obviously, and we had follow through just all week to the downside. So, going into Thursday, what did we have? We had this humongous spike down. Once again, controlled buying. I'm trying to make this easier to see. So here we have Wednesday. Fail, 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 failing the cloud just all day long. Huge spike down. And then we have this controlled buying up again. So controlled, it holds a trend line. And one key thing about Thursday was that the market was following oil, at least up until around here. So what I actually ended up doing was, instead of paying attention to this cloud so much, and it did follow this cloud somewhat, but I actually went to the crude oil cloud, and I said, okay, well, since the market is following crude, let's see where crude's short to intermediate term resistance is. So I went to the crude cloud on 2500 tick chart, and I saw I was entering the cloud, and it was also coming up against the overnight high, which it just got smacked down from. So overnight levels, overnight high and overnight low, significant levels for, I would say, just about any market, whether you're talking about an individual stock or a commodity or an index future or anything like that. So it got rejected, got slapped down hard again, and once it started getting up into this level, I'm sorry guys, once it started getting up into this level, up into the cloud, and once you start seeing this, the market definitely reacted to that, and the market pretty much just saw that as confirmation of, hey, it's not time for this market to be saved just yet. and we just had let's see, it's called 1970 to what 1930. So we just had a 40 handle just beat down of the market. Um, Oil kind of stabilized around here, but market the big money kind of saw this as, hey, the oil isn't enough to save us from the fear of China, North Korea. I'm not really sure what's going on in North Korea at the moment. I think I saw a report that um, the U.S. studies contradicted the initial reports that it was a nuclear test. So that's kind of in the air. I'm not sure the market really gives a damn about that right now. I think it's mostly just China and kind of just reacting off of, we had two double tops in a row. This cloud failing. Once this happened on Thursday, I just knew that we were headed possibly to retest 1850. To be honest, that's my target right now, because that's kind of the only place where we have any support. But going back to Thursday, once again, pull up the price level. If you look at the intraday high, it matched up against Wednesday's intraday low. And to do that 2 days in a row, and all signs are pointing bearish, and you break the daily cloud, there's no reason for you to really get long. And if you are, you're hoping for some sort of bounce, or you're playing off of the Kijun. But if every single chart that I use is telling you that this thing is going, to the ground, not literally to zero, but there's plenty of room for it to go before it finds significant support, there's no real reason to be getting long anything. Aside from, a half an hour, momentum play in an option or something like that, or even a short term, playing with the short covering in the morning. Sure, this double bottom kind of made sense to maybe get long right here. Double bottom, breakout, pullback. You could have gone long here, give yourself 7 points of risk, which I would never do. Other than that, though, trying to get long here just doesn't make any sense to me. And then going into Friday, different price action in the overnight, in the pre-market. We didn't have a big spike down or anything. We kind of had try to retake this cloud, actually. Failed to found support, but just failed again. And not as controlled buying, which kind of gave me a little bit of hope that we may see some sort of a bounce, since it wasn't as controlled, kind of short covering type action. But once we started failing again, once we came over here and we failed at the Kijun, I kind of had a feeling we were just headed back down. And another reason for that is we don't really have a reason to bounce. We were only coming into Friday with 2 down days. We had a super weak bounce on Tuesday. So now we have 3 straight down days. We would expect a bounce. We haven't had 4 straight down days since right here in early November, and before that was the correction in August. Now this week I think we were down 6% on the S&P, so we're kind of in correction territory. I think if you consider over 5% a correction, so there's that. It is scary. It's definitely not a good sign. We're clearly oversold. No reason not to be if you're in a correction, but you can stay oversold forever or overbought forever in theory. So coming in on Friday, different price action, but nothing that gave the bulls too much hope, that is, or help as far as news. Going into Friday, you expect a sell-off anyway, and I would be hard pressed. And I was really looking. I'm a bull, and in the words of Mr. Topstep, I'm a bull, but I'm not a fool. I would love a bounce. We're coming towards the bottom of a really big range here. Kind of in the middle right now of this kind of 2100 to 1850, 1810 trading range, so you kind of look for a bounce. But just follow the charts. If you look at a 1 hour chart, you see that this thing, price hasn't seen action over the Kijun-sen all week. The Kijun-sen, not even testing the cloud, just the Kijun-sen. Look at that. Just topping out. Kijun-sen peeking over it, by a point or two, but then just getting rejected, just getting smashed. So to try to grab some SPY calls or hold on to any sort of stock that follows the market closely, which most do, you're not going to want to be holding them long, unless they have some sort of extreme oversold condition or they have some sort of news coming out. It just doesn't make any sense until the market sorts itself out to the upside. So, I believe we had a MOC order of 1.75 billion to sell. If we look here, we can see that would have made a nice trade going into the close. Remember, anything over $1 billion, either buy or sell, in my opinion, is significant to the point where you can make a trade base off of it. I know some people that had SPY puts and they just went from 50% to 150%. I actually grabbed some SPY puts right around here and just made a quick little bit of money. So not too bad. Something I wanted to point out that we did struggle with, we did find support on for a while. We do have a trend line from the correction. Trying to line this up. Right there. And you can see we bounced off this several times, but ultimately we just failed. Right here. Bounced off it 2 clear times. Tried to double bottom around 1930, which coincided with the trend line. Tried, but we just got shut down at the 1 hour Kijun-sen again. So, double bottoms give hope, but when they fail and you're just underneath every single cloud that you look at, no real reason to get bearish. So now we're underneath that trend line. So the only form of support we have is based on price action down here at 1850, maybe 1875. Probably the primary target just based on this candle right here. Another thing I want to point out, if you look at the weekly chart, yes, I look at weekly charts. We actually, midweek, we were actually finding support right here around 1980, which is the weekly Kijun-sen. We bounced off it before, and then we came back and tested it again, and then we just dropped right through it. So now we're entering the weekly cloud. So we're entering really, really long-term support. Something that hasn't been tested, I think, aside from the August correction, since this bull market started. Now, if we look at a monthly chart, we see that the monthly Kijun-sen comes out at 1600. Now, if 1800 realistically becomes something we might break through and we just go into panic mode, my first target is 1600, and it's based on this chart right here. It's not impossible, guys, and it's not impossible for it to happen relatively fast. The one thing that is reassuring to me, though, is that we're still in this range, and as long as we're above 1811, 1850, 1875, and we're not even panicking as much as we were in August, I'm cautiously bearish. China has a tendency to bounce, and it hasn't bounced all week, so next week kind of makes sense for at some point for it to bounce. I know it's 5 days it could happen. I'm not trying to say it's going to happen Monday or Tuesday. But what we have had the past 2 weeks is a somewhat of a bounce on Tuesdays. It hasn't always been the most beautiful bounce, something like this, where we bounced, I think we closed up 3 points on the day. But some sort of a bounce might give hope to enough people. And this sort of selling and this sort of selling while it looks similar, each of these red candles got bigger and bigger as we went down. This one, these got a little bit bigger. We actually had somewhat of a bounce though. It's kind of a small candle. This is a pretty shitty candle. But you know, it's been more controlled, less panicky. Obviously, we're in correction mode, so that's not good. But you kind of have to see both sides of it, and that's kind of what I'm trying to emphasize here. So still in this range, still have some support down here. But if this goes, then we're looking, you know, we're just looking at what we have. What is this? 1813. So yeah, if we're above 1813, cautiously bearish. Still bearish though, but still a glimmer of hope. And you know, no one's really panicking too much. Yes, this was the worst week in history. Let's not kid ourselves. Worst opening week in history. But we're still in a range. We're still above this cloud. If 1800 realistically goes, I guess the first target would be 1790, 1784 for support, and then just 1600, I guess, based on the monthly. So that's a quick recap, guys. Kind of what I'm looking at going forward. Just going to depend on news, going to depend on China right now. I don't think oil has enough mojo to carry us out of this on its own. It showed that on, I think it was Thursday, that sure, it can give us some hope, but oil just made new, I think, 11-year lows. So, not too much happening, positivity-wise. We added a bunch of jobs. That kind of gave us what some would say sort of a rally, but I mean, people are just taking profits at this point, in my opinion. But we are down quite a bit, waiting on some good news. Probably waiting on a bounce from China moving forward, so look out for that. But yeah, guys, just use your charts. If you use this chart, you would have nailed short after short all week. So yeah. Good luck to you guys in the coming week. Try to set up some Google alerts for China, or stay on your apps, your finance apps or whatever, and just try to stay plugged in. If you're in a chat room, make sure it's a good chat room and you have people that contribute news. You should be plugged in. If you can't stay in front of a computer the whole time, I understand. Most people aren't full-time traders, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if you are going to trade, right now is a time where you really have to be nimble, you have to be informed, or there's no reason, you don't have to trade right now. Yes, there's opportunity to the short side, there's opportunity to the long side at any sort of bounce, but you don't have to trade. Like, some people just stop trading in this, and there's nothing wrong with that. You don't have to trade. You can always wait for stuff to calm down. You can wait for us to be in a full-on bear market. Don't feel the need to trade if you're just getting crushed. I know some people are losing thousands of dollars a week, and they don't know what to do in a market like this. Just stop trading. Learn. This is a learning experience. It's a learning experience for me. So just have your levels, have your charts. If you want to get in the chat and you're not already, just shoot me an email. It's a free chat. It's through GroupMe, so it's not too much of a burden on you. Some short-term levels obviously are where we found support here, resistance here, and support here, resistance here. Some topside targets for a potential bounce. Other than that, maybe we retest this daily cloud before we go lower. We don't go straight up or straight down, guys. So a bounce will come at some point. Gonna make a video on slow stochastics, which are used for swinging options, usually for big name stocks. So look out for that. I'll either have that out tonight, probably tomorrow. It's a little late. So if you have any questions, feel free to hit me up on Twitter at SwissMadeTrades. If you want to join the chat or just have any general questions, or shoot me an email, swissmadetrades@gmail.com. Trying to get better making these videos, guys. The more I do it, the better I'll get. So If you watched it, I hope you enjoyed it. Hope I didn't bore you too much. My voice is pretty boring, but hopefully you learned something or took something away from it. So um, it was really cool to see MOC work 2 days in not 2 days in a row, but 2 days in a week and make money off of it. So hopefully you guys did also. If you're not sure what MOC is, look at my last video. But I'm gonna leave you with that. I'm kind of just rambling at this point. I know people don't like long videos. So you guys have a good weekend. And again, if you have any questions, let me know. Peace.